Welcome to the channel. My name is Jess, and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Jess's Makes. This is a fairly standard format podcast, mainly about knitting. I do other fibery crafts, and I always say that, but I know recently I haven't been doing them. Hopefully coming up soon, but today is about the knitting. You will find all of my information about the items I talk about in the description box for the channel, as well as my contact information. So how have you been? I hope you've been well in the last week and a half, especially since I last sat down with you. I am trying a different aspect today. It is, what is today? Today is Thursday, November something. I'll put it on the screen. I should have looked this up first. It's the week before Thanksgiving here in the United States. So part of the perils of being outside, besides the weather, it's a bit warm and humid today, is the outside noise, ambient noise. Hopefully I will be able to diminish that in editing, but there may be a lot of breaks, pauses, so that I can get rid of things like airplanes, lawnmowers, leaf blowers, whatever it is we might hear. I also wanted to face a nicer view for you in the background, but I was extremely backlit and you wouldn't be able to see anything. So anyway, let's get on with things. My bad plant's back there, so at least I'm hiding some wood. Hopefully we'll get to burn some this winter. We did have a cold spell early. It was basically, so it's November, we basically had February weather for about a week. No complaints from me at all. Loved it, loved it. When I say February, I mean February in Central Florida. Just to clarify what I mean by February weather. Oh, so that's my weather update. I hope you're cozy wherever you are staying cool if it's getting hot where you're located, and you're all comfortable with your crafts. So I believe this is episode 34, and let's get on with the knitting chat. Because it's been a while since I sat down with you, that's because I wanted to finish some things first. Otherwise, what was I really going to show you is just some progress. So anyway, with that, I have 3 finished objects. They're not large, but they're finished. And I'll give you some updates on some whips and new cast-ons and a few acquisitions. Let's start off with my first finished object. I have no idea really why I suddenly thought, oh, I need to have a tea cozy, but I went on Ravelry and I found a pattern for a tea cozy that I liked that was free. And so this is a, forgot to look at the name of it. I have notes, but I didn't put the names of anything. I'll put it up here on the screen. I know it's a free pattern from Yarn Inspirations. I think it's called the Smocked Tea Cozy. So here it is. It's a bit stretched out now because it's been on our little teapot. So you knit it flat in 2 pieces and then seam it at the top and bottom in order to leave a gap for the handle and the spout. So we have a little, I don't know what it is. It's more than 2 to 3 cup teapot that gets used the most frequently. And so I made this to fit that. It's supposed to be a little bit taller, I think, to make a slightly larger teapot, but it stretches. Because when you cast it on, it's about this wide, and then that smocking pulls it in. Super easy pattern, but there's that texture. It is in use now, so it's slightly dirty. So what did I use? Let me take a look at my finished object bin. Oh, this is a bag that I made from some YouTube tutorial. It is called an origami bag. I mean, you do sew it, but there's no cutting. So I had 2 squares of fabric, and you do some folding and sewing and folding and sewing and flipping inside out, and suddenly you have a little pouch. So you can see the other fabric underneath there. I just had didn't have a lot of ribbon in my stash. And so I had some of this ribbon left, so I put that in there. It's a little too thick, but I thought it was cute. I believe this fabric is Art Gallery fabrics. They were quilt fat quarter pieces that I had in my stash. Anyway, I don't do my own sewing tutorials. You don't want that. I'm not much of a sewist, so no, those things are already online. I can link the one that I use below if you would like to try it out for yourself. So what I used from my stash was this yarn, Snow Blossom. So it is a superwash wool, Jubilee yarn, let's see, color Tide Pool. There you go. And so I had made, I think, a pair of socks with these that my sister has. You know about my sister and my hand-knit socks. And, oh yeah, it is dirty already. Okay, anyway. So I had that left over. I still have left over. Hang on a minute. That's what I was going to show you as well. I only used about a little more than half the ball. So this was a 100-gram ball, and I have 40-something grams left, including making the pom-pom. I used one of the Clover pom-pom makers, the greenish yellow sized one. So I used that to make the top and sewed that on, and so that's been in use, keeping our little teapot nice and cozy, and so your tea is super hot when you drink it. So that's finished object number 1. It took me 5 days to make it, and it's not because it's difficult, it's because of the thickness of the yarn and the needles hurts my hands. I could basically knit for hours every day of fingering weight yarn and I'm fine, right? I have to take breaks and stretch, but I don't get pain in my hands or elbows. When I work with thicker yarns and bigger needles, that's an issue. Which brings me up to finished object number 2 that also took me a bit of time to make, despite it being a hat. That came out to be worsted weight by holding several strands together. Still, it took me ages because of working that motion with the needles. This is the Stries hat. I was influenced heavily from Yana Finished Knitting Stories, who showed her Stries hats, a couple of them she's made, and I did mine as a scrap buster as well. So it is knit in multiple strands held together, at least according to the pattern. You have 3 different strands of yarn. I think you start off with US 9. I'll put the millimeters up here because I didn't write it down. Use 9 needles to knit the brim for about, I don't know, some length, whatever it says in the pattern. It is a paid for pattern. And then you cut one of the 3 strands and you go down to US 8 and finish the rest, and then do some decreases for the top. I used, well, let me show you here. So this was in the Neons and Neutrals book, I think, from, is it Lina Publishing? But you can buy it now on Ravelry as a standalone pattern. So if I fold it up, I can't really fold it up very well because it's slippery yarn. Let me try it. I'm not going to put it on for you. It is warm, and we got the hair grow out thing going on, so no. But there it is. So you could fold it up that far if you wanted a nice close beanie, or let it go down a bit more to have a more slouchy beanie. But I love that texture that you get here on this broken rib pattern, and then the reverse on this side I think also looks really nice. So I used, from my stash, I used several yarns. So at the bottom, now they're all stuck together. So at the bottom section, I held together, I had a leftover ball of a sock yarn. This is from 3 by the Z Designs. And I held that together with a strand of the Farmer's Daughter Fibers Odang, which is, this is the, is it fingering or lace weight? I'll put the colors up on the screen. Also, it will be linked in the description box. And in this color as well, also from the Farmer's Daughter Fibers. So these were Surrey alpaca silk that I purchased to make another sweater. I didn't know colors, so I bought both. So this one has actually been from the frogged sweater that I decided not to do. It's partially frogged, so the ooey gooey. It just didn't turn out well, the fit and sizing. So I thought it worked well with this one, held together. These three held together, then gave me the bottom of the hat. So then when I cut the third strand, I started knitting it, I realized this was a little too open. So this isn't going to stop the wind from going through, but it should be nice and warm because it's all cereal alpaca and merino, and then later a little bit of mohair. So when I cut this color to hold the two strands to do a lighter tone, it looked too thin. So I grabbed a remnant of this Isier silk mohair in the color ecru and held that together with these two to get the top. So you get this, it's probably coming out a bit weird, but the top is a minty green color. The camera seems to have a really hard time grabbing the colors. That might be about it there. So sort of a minty green with the speckles down to a more blue-green color down below here. So this will be a gift knit going up north to family and whoever wants to have it. We'll do that. The only modification I made then at the top is on the decrease round, you do after your last decrease, I think you're supposed to just knit another round, but I did not do that because I find that it makes it a little pointy at the top, and I don't really like the top to be pointy. So I just put my thread through the last stitches and secured it. So that's finished object number 2. And my third finished object that this one only took me 2 days to do, a day and a half, 24 hours maybe to do, is my gnome for November. So I had originally planned on doing the Numpkin gnome pattern by Sarah Shira because I knit Nettle for the October mystery knit along, and so I figured, well, I'll make Numpkin because he's a pumpkin and it's still November. Then I decided I wanted to do a variation of Numpkin, and since it's not for the knit along or prizes, it doesn't matter if I make a lot of modifications. So I did a mashup between the Noodles pattern and Numpkin. So I'll put pictures from Ravelry to show you those two pattern images. That's Sarah Shira's page on Ravelry to show you what the individual patterns look like. Noodles in the book is the smallest gnome. This gnome is even smaller. So please give a nice warm welcome to the newest member of the gnome family for this year. This is Gnovember. There he is. That's how small he is. To show you, I'm very shaky right now. So I think he has a sort of desert vibe. I'm not sure. I decided, so the hat actually has sparkle in it. It doesn't show up all that great on the camera. So that's a bit of my Find Your Sparkle for the Find Your Sparkle Mal with Yana of Finished Knitting Stories. This was a mini that I had from several years ago from Weird Sisters Wool Emporium. And I took some of the numbers from Noodles and some of the numbers from Numpkin to create this little pumpkin shape with some leftover Farmer's Cider Fibers Sock Squad yarn from this year. I can't remember which month it was. I still even have some left over. And then instead of doing the beard, I thought I would make a mustache. And so I did crocheted these vines. Well, they're meant to look like vines, and decided I would do that instead, give him a long mustache. And I did Noodles his nose, the small nose from the book. Some people said, oh, is that a mustache or not because of where it's coming out? But I think it looks like a mustache. So there he is. November, my November gnome. So I'll put a picture up so far of the gnomes I've knit for this year. So one more to go for December. I already know which one I want to make. I haven't purchased the pattern yet, but it's still November. We're good. So those are my 3 finished objects. So I wanted to get those done before I sat down with you to have something to talk about. So I have some works in progress updates to share with you. So last time, I believe I was still in the progress of decreasing the stitches for the cardigan and finishing the raglans. So I finished that, and then I started the button band, and there is a tutorial on doing the button band, but in the instructions, you pick up stitches along the right side, you break the yarn. The stitches that were on hold along the top, you put back on your needle, and then you pick up stitches, you reattach the yarn, pick up stitches for the left half, left side, and then break the yarn. You do an applied button band starting at the bottom right corner where you're going to do the buttonholes as well. Because I did the tubular cast on for the hem, I followed Andrea's instructions for doing a tubular cast on for the applied button band. You wouldn't have to, as long as you do a cast on with the number of stitches it calls for in order to work 1 by 1 ribbing so that you start and end with the right stitches and it matches your hem, it's going to work fine. Because you're going to work double knitting along here, which is really easy. So if you've never done double knitting, you produce 2 layers of fabric that if you were to pull your needle out, don't do it, but it's actually pretty cool. If you took your needle out after you've knit that for a while, you would see you have 2 layers of fabric that are together. So it's kind of like a hollow, it's not really a tube, but there's a space between those 2 layers of fabric. And it's worked really easily by always just knitting the knit stitches and then slipping the purl stitches with the yarn in front. So it's knit with the yarn in front, slip this purl stitch, which back, knit, and back and forth across. And then when you turn to the other side, it's the same thing. So you're never purling. You're just knitting and slipping the purl stitches. As you do that, when you get to the end, then you're decreasing by attaching it to the edge of the button band. And Andrea has a tutorial to show you how to do that. There is no tutorial on working the buttonholes, but the instructions are really clear, I think, in the pattern. So you work part of the buttonhole, one side of it, break the yarn, and then work the other side, and then combine them back together. So that means that on the back side, you do have, for every buttonhole, hence all the strands here, you do have 2 strands of yarn that you'll have to then weave in later on. But then you can tidy up any of the loose bits, if you have any, on there. I feel like I'm getting darker again. Hopefully, let me see if this will brighten up. So I finished those 5. That's what the marker is reminding me that I did finish the 5 in case I made a mistake and I was supposed to do another one because maybe I didn't count to 5. Then I would know how many rows to go before the next one. So I am now all the way up to the neck. So it's just now going across the neck. So I finished it up to, it would be this part on the body. So then I have to work just around the back neck, back down the other side until you get to the end, and then you just graft the stitches together. And it's so squishy, the texture is great. So hopefully this will be done. I don't want to jinx myself. Hopefully it'll be done by Thanksgiving. Although it could be hot and humid in here and air conditioning on, but still, that's just a goal I have. Plus, I want to cast on another cardigan. So that is the Comebackigan. So that's my progress. All right. Let me update you on the Kevät. Oh, it's because I got a lap full of wool here. Oh, that's so much better. I was getting hot. Take the wool out of your lap. All right, last time I think when I showed you the Kevät, I had just finished this section and I had started some of this lace. So I've done the next color work and baubles section. So yes, 58 more baubles, we're done. These are actually smaller because I found, I'm still playing around with the baubles for this pattern. I found that instead of doing the knit front back method that's in the pattern, I did knit purl, and I only did 4 strands. I only increased 3 more, so 4 strand bauble, and then just lifted those over to create the bauble, that they came out more neatly than when I did the knit front back. I have no idea why, that's me. I mean, I could figure out why, but obviously it's something in the technique, the way that I'm wrapping yarn or something, but they came out nicely. I did try another bobble method that I really liked. Somebody had a short on it. So instead of knitting, doing knits and purls, turning your work, knitting it back, turning your work, it was doing it, but just reverse knitting. And those turned out into beautiful spherical little baubles. But I felt they were too big for this pattern, so I didn't use them. I ripped them out. But I had some fun bauble play in there. So fun with baubles, baubles, baubles. Lots of texture going on here, and the colors are fantastic. A lot more, it's kind of creamy warm. I don't know if it'll show up pinks and things in here. I don't know if that's showing up at all. What did we move on to after that? So I'm trying to hold that. So you got that color work and baubles, and then there's some more lace texture here with some garter ridges, or no, just purl ridges. And now I'm into the body pattern, which has more lace to it. Now, in a couple of rows or rounds, I'm going to have to decide if I'm going to put the baubles that are in the pattern for the body. So I went to Ravelry and had a look at people's pattern photos. A lot of people omitted baubles through the whole sweater. Some people kept the baubles in the yoke, but not the body. Some people didn't put the ones in the body except at the very bottom. So I was trying to look at what I thought looked cohesive and balanced. And I think doing it exactly as the pattern, I can see that look, it brings the whole garment into just this load of texture. So it's all cohesive. If I don't do the baubles in the body, then it's going to bring more of the attention up here to the yoke, which should be okay. I know I don't like the plain and then stick those big baubles right at the bottom. It's kind of like, for me, those colorwork sweaters, when they put that band of colorwork at the very bottom, when you've had a lot of solid, I don't like that in general. I know it kind of ties everything in, but it's also drawing attention to a part of my body that I don't really want attention drawn to, and that's the bottom section, right? The belly. So I don't know, and I don't know. It doesn't work for me personally. So it's either omit the baubles altogether or put them in. So I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do. I think I have 2 more rounds and then I have to decide. I was hoping to get one of these done by Thanksgiving so I can cast on my next object. Now, of course, I can cast on anything anytime I like, but I'm giving myself those incentives. If I get a garment done, I can cast on a garment. Actually, I did finish something not long ago, didn't I? That was a garment. Did I? Try to remember. All right, so that brings me up to new cast-ons. I think just things, they're not brand new, but I haven't shared them with you yet. So I talked before about doing a mitered square blanket with the borders around each square, similar to the recipe from Malene of The Playful Knitter. So as part of the blanket along, the casual blanket along, I am using as my border color, come on, let's get you brighter. I am using this, oh, we've gone dark again. Brighten me up, please. From Miss Babs, I'll put the information up here. It's also on my Ravelry project page, so it may not be on the screen. This is, I think, the Putnam base. This is the white peppercorn colorway. And I got, sorry, I'm looking in my basket for the papers. And then I ordered my first purchase from Mustache Yarn. It doesn't want to focus today. There we go. I got their perfect must match set here. So I wasn't paying attention to this information when I ordered it. This is the color, it's called Luca. I wasn't paying attention to the information that these were perfectly matched pairs of yarns. It's kind of blurry. I think it looks like it's gone blurry. There we go. I wasn't paying attention to that. They are 2 50-gram hanks that are twisted together, which is fine. It just, I kind of felt like when I unwound, I thought, oh, they're perfectly divided to make 2 matching pairs, and I'm going to mix it up to make my blanket, but that's okay. I can always get more later. I wanted a self-striping sock yarn that had lots of colors in it. So I was hoping for at least 6 stripes or more. This one has more. So I have started on it. I did wind up each ball in different directions so that the striping sequence will work in reverse order for some of the squares so that I can mix them into my blanket. So this is the first one I've started with. The color's like this, and this is the second ball, so they will go in the reverse order. So I haven't used this one yet, so that's what the 50-gram one looks like. And let me show you the blanket so far. So here they are. I hope my lighting's coming out. So this was the first one I started with. So it started with the purple and went through this color sequence. What I like is that it's not necessarily rainbow. I have nothing against rainbows really, but I just don't want a rainbow blanket. It does go between lights and darks, so I really like that. So I followed Malene's stitch counts for casting on. So I cast on 70 stitches. So there's 35 on each side of the center, and doing the decreases on each side of the stitch marker. I knit the band until I had whatever stitches she suggested you have left, I think 54, and then joined in the color, and then I just knit until I got to the last 4 stitches and bound them off. And then cast on, I think I cast on stitches here and then picked up the stitches here and then worked back and worked to the second one and then continued the stripe sequence. So where it stopped here, it picked up with here to back towards the purple. Did the same thing on my third one. And so now it's working back through that colorway. Oops. So I didn't really know what my plan was for doing this. Did I want to alternate the balls and do one way, one the other, and just keep going around to really mix it up? That was one option. Doing a few in a row. So I decided, you know, I'm going to do like half the blanket with the one ball, and whatever the sequence comes in, pick up and work the rest of it in the rest of the other ball. I don't know how large this is actually going to be. I did measure these, but I can't remember offhand what their dimensions are. I think Malene used a 24 mini set, 24 of them. So that's more than what I have. So I'm not sure how big this is going to come out to be. It could just be a lap blanket size, or I just might have to order some more and make it larger. But I'm really enjoying it. It's really nice and easy project to work on, but it's not really something I'm going to start taking with me because I'm enjoying it as I go, which I prefer. I don't like sewing and sewing, so I do want to join them as I go. But sitting on the sofa, nice little blanket, so I'm enjoying that. Okay, so that's my new cast on. And I have swatched now for my Thanksgiving Day cast on. So in the US, Thanksgiving Day is next Thursday. And I'm hoping to have one of my garments done. If not, I'm going to cast it on anyway. I have done a swatch, started a swatch. I didn't do a full swatch, but you know, it's mostly there. I mean, this is pretty big. This is over 8 inches across. I just stopped doing the rows, but to show you that texture. So it's funny because this is not that different than some of the other patterns I've been working on, where it's a broken rib pattern over several rows. And the pattern is, maybe I should tell you, is the Hisu sweater. I'm not sure that's how you pronounce it, but that's what we're going with. The Hisu pattern. And I'm doing it in this beautiful merino linen yarn that's hand dyed from Frankie Gray fibers. I showed it to you before as an acquisition. I don't know if that's clear. This is on their extra fine merino linen base in the color Big Apple. So I was totally inspired by Tracy, the one half of the Grocery Girls podcast. She was wearing the sweater in this yarn and color, and I absolutely loved the look of the garment, the fabric, and you know, I'm in my reds right now, so this is also my first purchase of Frankie Gray Fibers yarn, and I absolutely love it. It is so soft. I love the flex. I love the way the color's working out, and this worked out so fast. I could have kept going. It's so fast and such an easy repeat, and I can't wait to wear this. It is still damp. I washed it last night, but our air conditioning hasn't been on, so it's still a bit damp. But I'm gonna work out my gauge from this and then cast on next week, if not sooner. Ooh, yeah, sooner. Anyway, there's any reason to cast on, right? So that is my one of my upcoming projects. The other one I've been debating on is exactly what to work with some yarns that I had in stash, and to find my sparkle and have something a little special to put on over tank tops, or just like strappy dresses or things like that. So I think I've talked about this at some point. I had this ball of Fiber MacGyver's Merino twist in the color Raven. And I bought it at from Fiber MacGyver's booth, or at Madge the Van, back in Rhinebeck in 2023. And I just bought single skeins of different colors. And I realized, oh, I wanted to use this to make a nice kind of fancy tank top that I could also add some sparkle to, or fluff or sparkle or something. But I knew I needed more, so I looked this year, but there wasn't any at the at her booth this year at Rhinebeck. But a friend of mine from there I was talking to, we've been chatting, and I mentioned that, and they had been helping Susie out at her van, and she said, oh, well, just ask her. She might dye some up for you. I don't know. I'm just, I'm awkward like that. I wasn't gonna, it's okay. I'll figure something out. Well, then Susie contacted me and said that the friend said, oh, that you were looking for some of that. So Susie very kindly offered, yeah, I can dye some of that up. So I had her do a dye lot for me of this colorway, and so there's going to be some crinkling for the bag behind it. She did it really fast, and I know that dyeing up blacks and I think reds for hand dyers is really tricky, so I really appreciate that. But here we go. So I have a whole bag. Yeah, I only really needed one more skein for the project I was thinking of, but I thought, well, she's gonna dye it up, I might as well get some more. Plus they're not gonna be the same dye lots, right? They're 2 years apart. They're not going to look the same, and they don't. They definitely have a slightly different tone to them. Totally fine. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. So I figured, oh well, I'll use some of this to make one of the cardigans I want to wear for work, and I can use the rest for something else, or maybe another top. So exactly what I'm making with the rest of this, we'll have to wait and see. But one of the items I'm going to make, I'm going to use this yarn, and I'm going to hold it together with this sequin yarn. Look at that. I'm not really a sparkly kind of girl. I mean, even I'm wearing nail polish. I hardly ever wear nail polish because it chips. I use my hands a lot. So anyway, there you go. I'm getting all glammed up for you for the holidays. So this one I got, it has 2 sizes of sequins. So these I think 3 and 6 millimeter ones on this cotton strand. So I have another cotton strand, I think I showed before, that has really small, maybe they're 3 millimeter diameter sequins that are matte and kind of more black, that I'm thinking of putting in something else to give it a little shine without in your face sparkle. But I wanted holiday sparkle. So I'm going to make a tank top with this yarn, and probably this Fiber MacGyver Merino twist, although I need it to be sport weight or a light DK. So my mohair, it looks really nice together, but it's too prickly for me, so next to skin without something underneath it, so that's not going to work. So I'm trying to figure that out, what I'm going to do. I might just hold 2 of these together, or with another strand of another yarn, but we're going to play with that. So I'm either going to make this, the Bliss Tank, which is a free pattern from Alicia Plummer, but that one's knit bottom up, and I would have to make it shorter, I want it more as a crop length for like wearing high-waisted jeans or putting over a dress. So it needs to be shorter, so I would have to omit the waist shaping, go shorter, make that one. Or I have this pattern from Kadri that I thought I might make that one, which is top down. That one though is in a light DK gauge as well. So that's my dilemma right now, is just playing with that. But I thought this is going to be such a fun cast on to do. And then I'm not wearing just my black, right? It's going to have some bling to it. So that's what we're going with. They are getting bigger. Yana, you're right. These are getting bigger. It starts small and then they get bigger. So that's an upcoming project as well. I would also like to do some spinning. We'll see if that happens this month. That might have to wait until I'm on a winter break, which starts about the second week of December. Okay, so that was an acquisition and a plan. I have one other acquisition and some plans. So I plan to make, well, we're gonna blame this one on my sister as well. I may have talked about this last time. So I made some cup cozies, can cozy type things, right? This sort of thing knitted for my sister a couple of years ago because I think it's a bat pattern. I used some cup cozy pattern and charts from Pacific Knit Co. They're little like Doodle type things, and she likes it, and she sent me pictures and oh, I wish it had a bottom to it, right? So something like this to the bottom. I said, well, figure it out and make it yourself. That would be really nice. She doesn't knit or crochet or anything, but you never know, she might do it. And I thought, well, surely I can do something like that. Just start at the bottom and then make a circle and then go up from there. So I thought, well, I should make her some new ones, some new holiday themed ones instead. So I have got some doodle packs, or more cup cozy. I got some more of the little chart patterns from Pacific Knit Co. And I decided, okay, I'm gonna make some of those. And when I looked at my stash of leftover DK weight yarns, I didn't have any colors that were going to work. And then Moonglow Yarn Co. was having a holiday site update on yarns, and so I grabbed a kit for making a cowl, but I don't plan to make the cowl. I don't really need the cowl, at least not today, but I am going to use some of those doodles to make a cup cozy for my sister and to make myself some fingerless mitts. So let me show you the yarn I chose. And there is crinkling. So I bought this kit. This is on, there's Merino DK, Superwash Merino. 100 grams is 231 yards or 211 meters. And I don't have all the colorway names here. I'll put them below. But this was to make the name that's on the screen. I'm so prepared today, aren't I? And I keep looking over at myself instead of the camera, which is over there. I'm sorry. You'd think I haven't done this before. So the main color is in Spun Sugar, and then you have these glorious other colors. This was the Merry and Bright set. The cowl is probably the Merry and Bright cowl. But I'm going to use this to make some fingerless mitts. And some, I don't know, whatever. I'm just gonna make things with that because these are, I can't remember how many grams these are. This is 100 gram, and then you have each of these colors, but I thought they're so bright and so fun. So I'm gonna do some doodling over the holidays. So that is an acquisition and a future plan because of course I needed more yarn. So I bought that. All right, so thinking of, this is not my first time doing this. Last time I mentioned that it was the first anniversary or birthday of this channel. And so I was planning to do a gift away. So this is the announcement for the gift away. So if you would like to have a chance to win a copy of the Wild Geese DK sock pattern from Nancy Wheeler, so a digital pattern through Ravelry, I am going to gift 2 copies of the pattern to 2 winners, and I will draw those names and announce them in the next episode. So if you would like to win a copy of that pattern, whether it's for yourself or you want to be able to gift it to someone else, then in the comments box, why don't you use the word wild, W-I-L-D, somewhere, anywhere in the comments, and that will get you into the random drawing to win a copy. So I will have 2 winners for that pattern. And I will only announce the winners in my next episode. Now, so this is the week before Thanksgiving. The kids are off school, so they're high schoolers and they're doing their own thing. They tend to leave me alone if I want to record. You know, it's totally normal for someone to have a YouTube channel for them. So they're fine with it. My husband, however, is the great interrupter and the one I can't record in front of or know when he can hear me. So I have to wait for him to be at work. Now, he is working next week, but what I'm saying is, my point to this long story is I'm not sure if I'll record next week. Probably because I'll have time off. I mean, it's just us at home for the break. I don't get the full week off like they do. I am off Wednesday through the weekend, so I have time to do some recording. So we'll see. Maybe I will be able to record next week. But if not, whatever my next episode is, that's when I will announce the winners. So if you'd like to know when my next episode is up, then please like and subscribe and click on the bell to be alerted when a new episode posts, and then you can find out there. So I hope you have had some time to get your crafting done. If you're celebrating Thanksgiving or you don't, I hope that you do something nice for yourself, whatever that may look like to you, and definitely be able to get some crafting done. I thank you so much. Appreciate you spending time here with me, listening to my waffle and chatter about the knitting and the yarn, and I look forward to you coming to visit me again. So until I see you next time, happy crafting and take care. Bye.